Hello everybody and welcome to The Adventures of Tintin, the 2011 adaptation of the Adventures of Tintin franchise by originally created by Ergay and adapted into various cartoons, including the 90s one, which we already commented on everyone except the last one.
As of the day of recording this.
This is a little re-recording because we lost the original audio. And since then, we actually showed Dwibs almost the entirety of the cartoon. He hasn't read the books, but like I've said in the commentaries, that cartoon is pretty much the books put on screen anyway. So so he might as well have read a book at this point. So so much like me and Teo, he actually is familiar with Tintin right now. So like us, he will actually be able to pick apart what's wrong with the movie on a source material level.
Because the first time I saw this movie with Teo and Paige, I just thought it was a boring movie. Okay, the film was directed and co-produced by Steven Spielberg, and another one of the producers was Peter Jackson, who's going to be directing this very probably never coming sequel.
Yeah,
and it was written by Joe Cornish, Edgar Wright, and Stephen Moffat.
Mm-hmm.
And Teo has some bones to pick with Moffat's writing, but
but it's okay because he's just the guy who almost completely ruined Doctor Who. I mean,
yeah, and also this film is proof that not everything Edgar Wright does is gold. But then again, I saw The World's End, so yes, I don't like The World's End. Sue me.
Well, I haven't seen that movie, so I can't really vouch for it.
Is that the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, it's the third.
No.
Is that Cornetto trilogy Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg do?
Oh, well, if it's any consolation, Dwibs, I was mostly bored by Shaun of the Dead.
That's the only one I haven't seen.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah. Basically, audience, we're doing there's only one cut of this movie as far as I'm aware, so you should be fine. Pause your video. Right after the Paramount, this is the Paramount logo, right? Or no, this is the Columbia logo.
It's I think it's Columbia. I think Paramount's in there as well because both studios distributed this movie. Yes, it's a 2-studio film. But I'm not quite sure.
Anyway, basically, audience, for this one, I'm gonna ask you guys to take a little bit of faith in me and start up as right after the Columbia logo starts up. It's not the black screen that we usually do because this player is a bit iffy on that. So basically, you should be seeing a little bright sun thing with 4 beams of light around it. Basically about 1 second into the movie. I mean, okay. So now that you should done that, you'll be in sync with us. So let's start as soon as I say click. So 3, 2, 1, click. Yeah, it's the Columbia logo. Okay.
This is kind of like how Interstellar was distributed.
What happened to its parallel logo? I forgot the one with the Pegasus.
TriStar. That's TriStar.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Actually, I think TriStar doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No, TriStar still exists.
Oh. There you go, Paramount.
There's Paramount. Okay. Okay, I was to say, Interstellar had this kind of thing as well with two studios. That was Paramount and Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it's because at the time, and I think still it's to an extent, Nolan has kind of had this thing with Warner, where Warner Brothers want, much like with Kubrick,
and
Warner
Nickelodeon of all people.
Yeah, what the hell? Why the hell is Nickelodeon involved in this? They have nothing to do with Tintin.
And Amblin.
Well, yeah, that's Spielberg's production company, so.
Yeah. How many? Okay, how long is this intro going to go on?
I think we're done.
It reminds me of that Family Guy joke we made about this. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
And here's what is. I will admit it's a fairly creative intro, I guess.
The problem is the song.
Yeah, everybody. I love John Williams, but like I've said in a few times before, especially in our Star Wars Force Awakens impressions video, I honestly think John Williams is past his prime at this point. Don't get me wrong, his Warhorse score was great, but I don't remember a single cue from this, Lincoln, and Force Awakens, and that's sad because that's the Star Wars score he made, and yet I can't remember a single cue outside of the reoccurring themes from past movies. That's sad.
Also, this intro is trying so much to be like the one of Catch Me If You Can.
Well, it's Spielberg, so
I know.
And Jamie Bell, who would later go on to appear in Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a shame too because I actually like Jamie Bell.
And Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig plays the villain in this movie.
And Andy Serkis.
And Nick Frost and Simon Pegg played Thompson and Thompson, which is actually a great choice. They're a great choice for those two actually. And yes, they're paying homage to the comics by inserting actual panels from the comics right there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that doesn't. Again, I still think this is just them trying to, because I still think that. They tried to. One of the things that I didn't like about the pre-hype to this movie was Spielberg and Peter Jackson appearing in various videos on YouTube, dressed as Thompson and Thompson, trying to portray themselves as Tintin fans who know their shit. When this movie, as we're about to see, and doesn't really get Tintin. But I'll get into detail about that as we move along.
All right. There we are.
This theme. I mean, let's compare this to the actual Tintin theme from the cartoon, which is awesome. That's a better John Williams theme than this one. That's sad. I mean, when I heard, okay,
this intro music reminds me a lot of one of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I mean, look at this. There's a train chase sequence going on, and we're listening to this song that doesn't fit with what's going on screen. Hell, not to mention, if they were real fans of Tintin, what they would have done is do some kind of throwback to the intro of the comic, because that intro is so awesome. Ugh. And there's the cover for Secret of the Unicorn, which is the book, one of the books that this is based on. Even though this movie is called The Secret of the Unicorn, it's actually a mangled of 3 books: Crab with the Golden Claws, which is the comic where he met Captain Haddock, Secret of the Unicorn, and Red Rackham's Treasure. Basically 3 books in one movie, and it shows because a lot of elements feel rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Was co-written by Moffat, so that explains it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. There is one thing they got right from the beginning, I will admit. There you go, Erge's cameo, right there.
Hey, Erge.
So, all right, 1 point for that. All right, much like in the cartoon, Snowy doesn't talk. Again, for just for the sake of Dwibs, he did have inner thoughts in the comics, but just like in the cartoon, in here he doesn't talk, which is fine. I mean,
yeah,
I don't mind that.
Okay, I should mention Moffat wrote the script first, but he finished one draft, but he couldn't do another because of the writer's strike, and he took a job on Doctor Who. So then they gave the script to Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I like Edgar Wright, but
oh yeah,
but again, it's like, even the best.
Hold on. Yeah, that's the. And now let's compare, shall we?
Even the best writers can have.
Not even close.
Jesus. Okay,
Spielberg,
the animators. Okay, and Spielberg, are you actually convinced enough that your Tintin looks good to actually do that side-by-side comparison?
Who plays Tintin?
Jamie Bell.
Jamie Bell.
It looks like Neil Patrick Harris.
Well, actually, remember, Theo, this was mocap acting. That face is not actually Jamie Bell's face.
Yeah.
I know, but it still looks like Neil Patrick Harris of all people.
Okay, motion capture films were pretty much dead at this point because of how horribly Mars.
And you can tell why, because the Uncanny Valley. My God, the Uncanny Valley.
Well, I'll say it's a better mocap film than Mars Needs Mums, which came out earlier in the year.
Dwibs,
that's killed the John Stone dead because of how horrible it did at the box office.
Mm-hmm. This one, however, did it moderately well at the box office, if I remember correctly. Let me check.
Yeah, it did all right-ish.
Hopefully, the fact that it wasn't exactly a big hit makes sure we don't get a sequel to this. But then again, considering the amount of money Spielberg and Jackson have, they don't really need that. They can just make it if they want it. They could just fund it themselves if they want.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we're following the Secrets of the Unicorn story. Basically, he finds that ship model and he wants to give it as a present to Haddock. Well, actually, no, never mind. I forgot about this. No, in this version, he actually doesn't. Even though in the original version of Secret Unicorn, he already knows Captain Haddock by this point, and that's why he buys the ship. And here he's just buying the ship just because he thinks it looks pretty. I forgot about that. And yeah, and here's the guy who's gonna get killed later.
If we're gonna say he's gonna get laid later.
And here's okay, and here's the main problem already that I detected. Right, okay, we're like 5 minutes in the movie, more or less. Okay, we're basically 5 minutes into the movie, and already when I watched this in the theater, I already detected the first problem. This movie, unlike the actual air gaze stuff like in the cartoon, takes itself way too seriously. The characters are always in this. And one of the things that made Tintin work, despite its silliness, was the fact that it didn't take itself seriously, like, at all. It was, like, it was very in the style of 1940s animation, whereas this movie takes itself way too seriously, despite being just as silly, and that's what doesn't make it not work. Go ahead.
But guys... But guys, according to others, this is apparently a good movie because this is the real Indiana Jones 4.
No, thank you. Indiana Jones 4. In fact, I would even argue that even Indiana Jones 4 had more comedy than this movie.
And that had Shia LaBeouf. Think about that.
And yes, Daniel Craig is playing Sakharine. Okay, in case Dwibs forgot, Sakharine in the original book was not a bad guy, but in here, for some reason, he's the bad guy. Don't ask me why they made that change. Because in The Secret of the Unicorn, the Bird Brothers were the villains, but in here the Bird Brothers are nowhere to be seen.
Fun fact: the actual tie-in video games of this movie actually follows the plot of the comic.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, audience. I'm not expecting them to follow the comics to the letter. It's I would be fine with them making certain changes as long as they at least got the tone right, and that's the main problem. They didn't get the tone right. But I'll get to explaining better in certain scenes. Yeah, basically he bought in this version he only bought the boat out of curiosity, basically. Well, at least the suit is right, I guess.
Kitty.
Random cat.
No, it's the Illuminati leader.
Oh, and there you go, right there in the back. Those, references to his previous adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Uncovers crime ring.
There you go. The scepter of Autocar. Yeah.
Again, I keep confused. I keep getting confused. I thought you said the scepter of Otacom.
Yeah.
I'm not really big on how snowy looks in this movie.
No, don't worry, Dwibs. I'm pretty sure me and Teo aren't. I'm pretty sure me and Teo aren't either. Like, it's snowy. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't look terrible exactly, but his expressions. Okay. While it is true that in the cartoon they removed the Snowy's inner thoughts, he still looked incredibly expressive for the animation. But in here, he's just generic, forgettable dog.
Yeah. Hey, we could have done worse and make like in the Garfield movie where you chose an actual dog for Odie.
Thank God I didn't at least do that. I think even though I do think Spielberg is passive prime, I don't think even he would do something that stupid. So yeah,
having fun yet, kids?
Yeah, again, like I've mentioned before, what made Tintin work was the fact that it was very fast and it took itself not seriously at all, and it had a lot of comedy interspliced with the adventure stuff. Whereas here, they're going full serious business on us, and it doesn't really work because the plot is so silly and simple. And the characters are... Okay, another thing, the characterization. The characterization is also pretty off. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying... Tintin is a bland character, even in the books, he is. But what made Tintin work as a character was his interaction with the other characters. And however, and since he has yet to meet... That's why Captain Haddock was created, because Ergay wanted to give him a sidekick to interact with. But in here, even when Captain Haddock enters the picture... Because Captain Haddock is so... horribly characterized. He has nothing to do with the actual original character.
Yeah.
Ugh. Again, audience, don't get us wrong. We're not saying that a different take on the characters is necessarily a bad thing. It's just that it is my opinion, and I'm guessing Teo's opinion, that their take on these characters is not really an improvement, or even... Okay, no, let me rephrase that. What they're doing is not good on its own merits.
The thunder strikes and lightning strikes show that something dramatic is about to... Oh wait, so they're already being overly dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
So the lightning loses all effect.
Yep. Oh no, we stole my boat. Who knew that?
See, look at the lighting. Could we have some levity in this movie, please?
Okay.
Okay, and let's think about this from a newcomer perspective, which Dwibs was in our first attempt at this movie. You can really see why Dwibs would be bored watching this movie for the first time, because they don't even explain who Tintin is. They don't explain who he. They even they did mention.
They mentioned briefly. Well, for anything, Hergé made a joke when he was president. Said, "Are you a reporter?" He was like, "Mostly."
Not to mention, actually, no, never mind. I stole it. One thing I'll give it, they also do a similar thing where, someone stole Tintin's boat, and as a result, he decides to investigate. So that's how he is in the comics too. So yeah, let's keep that.
Is Professor Calculus in this movie?
No, he isn't.
No.
Well, at least that's one character that didn't ruin.
He's supposed to be in this sequel because he follows Prisoners of the Sun.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Well, shit.
So what's Peter Jackson gonna do? Have him
I cannot even imagine.
Also, that dog running animation.
Yeah.
Is he gonna have Professor Calculus be the reason the movie will last 3 hours?
We'll see. Now, honestly, the thing is, it's incredibly easy to introduce Professor Calculus because his introduction is very easy to do anyways. But knowing Jackson, he probably would prolong the share of it. So yeah, Snowy managed to somehow tame the guard
Get
dog.
along with the dog.
It's not a sheepdog, is he?
I don't know.
It's a pit bull.
So I meant Snowy.
Snowy is...
Is that a fox terrier?
I think so. Okay, I get that he hasn't met Addock yet. I get that. But couldn't we at least get Thompson and Thompson a bit before we get to this part, so we could get some levity, some character, some comedy, something to engage?
This isn't Tintin. It's like a generic horror movie.
Exactly. There you go. This movie doesn't get Tintin at all. It's Tintin.
Why is it people like this movie again?
This movie looks like Tintin.
Because the Tintin media wasn't active for a lot of while, so people were fooled by the idea of a comeback after a long time absence. At least that's my theory. Yeah, because
let's think about this. It doesn't capture what made the comics and by extension the cartoon work. So for long-time fans like me and Teo, it doesn't work. And for people like Dwibs, who actually saw this movie before watching the cartoon, doesn't work because the movie doesn't really explain things properly, and the story overall is not really interesting so far. So who is this movie for exactly?
Okay, people who like this movie, can you please put in the comments, please explain why? I don't get this.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. Don't get me wrong, audience. We're not saying that we're not saying that you're wrong for liking this movie. We're not saying you're not allowed to. By all means, if you love this movie, power to you. But I'm genuinely curious here. What do you see in this movie that I don't?
And please don't just say, "Oh, is this the real Indiana Jones 4 we never got?"
Okay, and if you do say that, elaborate on that argument. Elaborate, please. Don't just say that and shut up. Please back up your statement. That's all I'm asking.
Anyway, back to the adventures of a...
I refuse to call this guy Tintin. He's not... Okay, fine.
It raises too many questions.
To be fair, yes, he's not...
Okay, there's nothing wrong with Jamie Bell.
No. Again, like I said, Tintin was bland even in the comics. I get that, but what made him work was his interaction with the other characters. The problem is that the other characters are also bland. So because Tintin was bland in the cartoon, but we were too busy being entertained by Thompson.
So it's even blander here.
Yeah. Tintin was technically bland in the cartoon, but because we were entertained by his interactions with the other characters, we were too entertained to notice that. But in here, yeah, the movie has no way to distract us from that. Oh, and here's Nestor. Nestor does have some small British deadpan jokes in the cartoon, but in here, he's just kind of there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will give them credit. Aside from Tintin's face, the Erge's art style is fairly intact. Fairly. I mean, I've seen worse 2D to 3D translations in terms of art styles.
I've seen, like I said earlier, I've seen worse motion capture.
Like the Bay Turtles.
Yeah.
I've seen Marsney's Moms.
Yeah. Like, it's not as good as the Asterix CGI movie, but it's good enough, I think. Aside from Tintin's face just looks terrible.
Why didn't you just give him the dot eyes?
Yeah, exactly.
They gave Snowy the dot eyes.
The dot eyes are...
The other characters don't have dot eyes, so it would have stick out.
No, actually, yes. well, Theo, that actually brings up another point. Why not just give everybody dot eyes then? That would make this art style look at least distinct from the other mocap animated movies. So yeah, here's the first parchment. What's this?
Okay, not the actual quality, but the sound of the score does sound like how Joe scored Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, the difference is Azkaban's score was awesome.
It's actually memorable and awesome, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Free Brothers, yeah. We've seen the cartoons, so we know. I think they should have started with a full-blown adaptation of Crab with the Golden Claws, so that we can fully expand on Thompson and have them gradually meet Addock instead of just
and not just being thrown into this. Like the film expects you to have seen Tintin stuff in the past.
Yeah,
or even that, or even then, just ever an actual
Okay. Actually, this film has a problem that Iron Man 2 the previous year did. It threw people into the movie, whether they'd read the comics or not, and expected them to know everybody.
Yeah. Another problem... Oh, okay.
And you can't do that. You can't just shoot people down.
The Asterix CGI movie is a great positive example of what I'm talking about. Yes, it was literally an adaptation of one of the books, but it did...
Well, remember also, Pedro, one thing that each single Asterix book and animated movie does is to have at least at the beginning, at least even how brief it is, at least a small recap on what the village is and who the characters are.
Yeah, and the movie did that too. That's what I mean. I mean, like Dwibs here. Dwibs doesn't know a shit about Asterix, but he really enjoyed the CGI movie we watched.
Well, shit.
Not to mention the. Actually, that's another good one. The Asterix CGI movie also proves that maybe going full blown animation instead of mocap probably was a better way to transition the art style.
Yeah.
Because the Asterix CGI movie transitioned with Urzo's style beautifully. It looks exactly like what I've always imagined it to look like in CGI.
Guys, I think I figured out why that.
Oh, here we go. Go ahead, Whips. Go ahead.
Why that second Tintin movie is probably never coming out at this point.
Why?
Again, like I said earlier, by this point, Marsney's Moms pretty much killed the
mocap genre, yeah.
The mocap genre, yeah. So maybe that's why it's not probably never going to come out.
Oh, here we are. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as Thompson, which is actually a great choice. I will give them that. I would have preferred if they gave him the same voice actor like they did in the cartoon, but okay, sure. They're both funny, so. And they don't look bad, I will admit. The Thompson look fine. Yeah, Karabujan, the hidden message he gave with the blood. Alright, give him 1 point for a funny gag.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
It is an actual reference to the actual gag from the comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, fortunately, Thompson and Thompson, they did get mostly right, so give them a point for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pickpocket subplot. I forgot there's a
well, hey, Simon Pegg at least got to appear in a better movie a month or two after this film came out.
Yep.
Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Oh, hang on. Hang on. I just realised something. You know, Spielberg's mostly live action films and Brad Bird's mostly animated films.
Yeah.
So, the animation guy did a good live action movie, but the live action guy couldn't do a good animated movie.
Yeah.
Ow. Wee. Guys, jokes.
It's well. To be fair, the humor.
Oh
with
my god, that bit looked so floaty.
Yeah, it did. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the cartoon had the best animation ever or anything, but it did have good comedic timing. This
was a multi-million 2011 movie.
I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Don't get us wrong, everybody. Yes, the animation in this movie is technically better than in the cartoon. However, I think the animators in the cartoon did a better job of what they had than the animators in this movie.
No, stop, come back. Jeez.
My god, that face is scary.
We're not supposed to be scared by the good guy. Yeah, mostly. He's sure about that.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure you've
remember
lost
he's
the
a
story
reporter.
at this point.
Remember, he's a reporter, Dwibs.
Hey? Yeah, good, but again, really?
Yeah, somehow we keep forgetting, but I don't know why.
I don't know if you lost the story, but you've lost the plot.
And there's Alan right there. Yep.
Yeah.
Karabajan.
Karabujan. That's how you pronounce it.
Jean.
It's an Armenian name. All right, there actually is one thing that they got right here. Snowy being a really clever dog. Yes. They did get that right, at least.
What to do?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine, yeah. Snowy that does this thing all the time in the comics, so.
Cinemasins would probably hate this movie.
Wait, oh, yeah, because, you think they would... Yeah, there's quite a lot of sins, potential sins that I can think of, yeah.
Well, we got another thing right. The weird accents.
Yeah.
Docs.
That's another thing. One of the main sources of mostly unintentional humor in the comics and the cartoon was Ergay's complete lack of racial sensibility. But obviously we're not gonna. Obviously, this is a Hollywood movie, so obviously we're not gonna get that.
But we're gonna get a dog shoving his head up a cow's testicles.
Because that's funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spielberg has devolved into Michael Bay humor.
Ugh,
That's sad.
That's sad.
Or was it Moffat, Wright, and Cornish?
Okay. Allow me. Yes, it is true that they wrote it, but Spielberg approved the script, so he also carries blame. He looked at the script and he saw no problem in it, so he also carries blame.
Well, at least they're being thorough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Bond, are you sure about... I'm sorry,
Yes!
Nostalgia Critic said the Nostalgia Critic says Daniel Craig has no other emotion other than
Okay, so Tintin made $77 million in domestic, and together with the foreign box office, it made a total of $373 million, which is not much, but that depends on its budget. So let me see if I can find the budget.
135.
Oh, it did just okay
Fine.
then.
It made it's like I said with I mean how if this can get a sequel despite not making all that much money, I mean how you know Batman Begins and Mad Max Fury Road, they both cost the same as the other and made about the same as the other, and they got sequels.
Well, the thing is, Dwibs, like I said,
and also Edge of Tomorrow's getting a sequel.
Well, Dwibs, like I've said, this movie is produced by two of the most rich people in Hollywood, so I'm pretty sure if they want, they can just make a sequel and nobody will stop them.
I mean, that didn't stop Michael Bay for keep milking the Transformers movies.
No, but that's but that's a thing, Teo. Those movies make money. For as bad as they are, they make money.
Oh,
sadly.
I forgot. Yeah.
See, in Tintin, even the villains are funny in a way. But in here, everybody is boring. There's no life in these characters. I mean, Sakharine is just the bad guy. Thompson and Thompson are the only characters who actually are left intact somewhat. And now we're gonna see how Adok is also not funny. Which is sad because he's hilarious in the books.
Yeah.
And the show.
Yeah. The TNT.
Yeah, sure.
So he's going to make a Molotov cocktail?
Yep.
Oh, remember, much like in the original comic, original story, he's gonna kind of trick them.
Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is, here they show us him thinking and actually doing stuff, while in the original story it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
Ow.
Okay, attempt 2.
Ow.
Here's another thing one thing they got right. Tintin is fucking MacGyver.
Yeah. Cheers.
What a waste of perfectly good champagne.
Yeah.
Ow.
And is that Andy Serkis?
Yes,
Yep.
Andy Serkis playing, which is sad because I love Andy Serkis. Mocap Andy Serkis is better than most live-action actors.
You're not gonna like Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Oh, really? Because
Andy Serkis
even
is
though
the main character in
see,
that,
here's the
and
thing.
it's fucking boring.
See, here's the thing. Even though I find the Lord of the Rings movies boring, I freaking love Gollum in those movies, and I mean Andy Serkis is brilliant as Gollum. I always look forward, and guess what, Dwibs? Guess what scene from The Hobbit I actually enjoyed?
What?
The Gollum moment with where Andy Serkis with Martin what's his name again?
Freeman.
Yeah, yes.
Martin Freeman?
Yeah. Both of that scene, cool. The rest of the movie, boring. Sorry. And yeah, if you're expecting the captain to be his deliciously over the top drunk guy, no, he's just
a drunk guy.
He's just generic drunk guy with really bad humor. Sorry.
Well, shit.
Whack, whack.
Okay, allow me to also bring up something to what Dwibs said about this being supposed.
Yeah?
Okay, about this being the new Indiana Jones movie or some shit like that. Here's the big difference, audience. The Indiana Jones movies actually bother to give the characters some time for us to get to know them before we get to the adventure parts. In here, we jump straight into it.
But do people... Okay. I think I might know why.
Go ahead.
What?
The people who said that really disliked Indiana Jones 4 that much.
So they decided to just like this movie out of spite for that movie.
They just liked this one because Spielberg was involved, and that's it.
Again, audience, we're not saying if you agree with that the true Indiana Jones 4 opinion, more power to you. We just expect you to at least try to back up your arguments in your comments, please.
And here Sakharine is a pet falcon, because why not?
Because he's the bad guy. Well, to be fair to you, when has Tintin ever been subtle?
No, I know, but it's just there.
You see, Captain, there's this thing going on where I'm a reporter who always risks my life for stories. Even though I do very little actual reporting. He forgot.
Damn.
Okay, in the original Secret of the Unicorn story, since he already knows Addoc, we have that scene where Addoc actually goes to search for in his basement. He finds the diary of his ancestor there, and that's how he told us the entire story of the whole backstory with the unicorn ship. But in here, they do this thing where he already knows it, he just forgot
because he's drunk.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Again, one of the writers here is usually pretty funny.
Yeah. This is the big problem, I think. I mean, Asterix worked because it was made in France by people who actually, because France loves Asterix. I mean, it was born there. It was made by people who love Asterix. Whereas this movie, I don't really know of any Hollywood filmmakers who could probably get Tintin right, because Tintin is not popular in America anyway.
I mean, granted, I'm not entirely sure there are any Belgian CG companies that could do this, but
Wow.
Well, Dwibs, here's the thing. Remember, in Belgium they speak French, so maybe one of the French animation studios could maybe take a jab at it.
Maybe I'm not sure.
I mean, they made Asterix great, so I'm pretty sure that they could also do the same for Tintin. He's sleeping with his eyes open.
No,
because he has no eyelids.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Just said.
Okay, never mind then. And by the way, this whole sleeping with lights and this was not in the show or comics at all. This is purely the writers.
Filler.
Yeah.
Again, I know adaptation. You sometimes have to change stuff, and sometimes change means you add some things.
Change, real change.
But does this scene is for them to get. Could we get the Captain Addoc that actually screams blistering typhoons?
Oracle, yeah.
In here, he's just the sarcastic humor. Don't get me wrong, I love sarcastic humor, but that's not Captain Addoc's humor at all. Okay, yeah.
Ow.
That's another thing they got right. Yeah, Snowy always has these moments where he always goes for food first over getting the keys or some shit like that.
No, Tintin.
Oh, fuck me. That was not funny, and that's not at all how Captain Addoc behaves, even when he's drunk.
Did anyone actually read any of the books or watch the show? Whichever was easier.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even have to read the comics. You can just watch the cartoon. Call it all. I mean,
you got the money, you could just buy a box set for what in your case is chump change.
Don't get us wrong, audience. Like Dwibs himself said, it's an adaptation. You can put your own spin on things. You can. I'm not at all against that. The problem is that if you're not going to bother to try to capture the core of these characters, why make an adaptation to begin with and not just make it an original movie?
Punch.
Right.
Off we go.
Alright.
What time is it, mate?
What time is what, sorry?
No, I was just
Okay.
thinking what those two guys was probably thinking.
Alright.
Yeah, because they have to work late and stuff.
Another thing that...
Was that Gilbert Gottfried?
I wish we had Gilbert Gottfried here.
I can't take it anymore!
And yeah, this shot right here, Dwibs, believe it or not, this was actually the first screenshot they released of this movie. And as you can probably guess, I immediately groaned because his face looks so terrible. That was the first sign. Oh my god, this movie's going to suck, isn't it?
Were you on SSMB at the time?
I don't think so, no. I joined SSMB in 2011, so no.
Okay. Well, this film came out in
2011.
October 2011 or December.
I joined in summer 2011. I can't remember what was the exact month, but it was around that time.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, thank you. At least you brought back his catchphrase, at least. So one of these writers apparently saw the cartoon, because the Great Snake thing is actually not in the comics. That's actually a catchphrase that they invented in the cartoon. So at least one of the three writers watched the cartoon. Now I wonder who.
I'm not sure.
And that's still weird. I mean, at least, okay, the fact that they have the Great Snakes catchphrase proves that they... Okay, that's good. All right, another point for a funny gag.
You've lost the ship. Well, time to get another one.
Okay, whoever wrote the Great Snakes line, can we have that one guy write the whole thing? Because I don't know. I'm starting to feel like there was probably like an argument between the writers. One that didn't want it to be like the cartoon. The other wanted it to be like the cartoon. I get the feeling the three writers were on different ideas of where to take this movie from, and that's why this movie feels...
remember, Moffat wrote the script at first, but he left after writing the first draft, so that's why they got...
Oh, so I'm... Okay, granted I haven't seen anything from Moffat, but I'm starting to have a theory right now. Moffat's original draft maybe was closer to the source material, but then the other new writers maybe botched it up, maybe? I don't know. That's a probable theory that I can think of. Obviously, I don't know, but that's my theory right now. Wouldn't be the first time it happens to a movie. Boom. Also, another thing. Don't get me wrong. As Dwibs noted it during our commentaries of the cartoon, the music was not, at least not entirely orchestrated, but it was more memorable than this score, which is sad because this is John Williams. I mean, John Williams' score in this movie is just there.
Yeah.
Most of the time you barely even notice it. Which is sad because this is the kind of movie that is perfect for John Williams, where he could just go full-blown, symphonic and awesome and epic and shit. And yet he doesn't. Of all the movies to decide to be subtle, John, you pick Tintin. Like me and Dwibs have said before, John Williams is not exactly known for being subtle, and yet of all the movies to try the whole subtlety thing, he picks Tintin.
They survived this.
Ding.
Ding! Don't worry, the whiskey survived.
The whiskey bottles are our new characters. Okay, they'd be more interesting than the Haddock and Tintin in this movie.
Yeah. What am I doing in this movie? I'm not even really a proper actor for a Tintin villain.
Yeah, honestly, even like if you really wanted to change having the villain, why don't go all the way out and having Rastapopulous?
You know what's interesting, by the way?
Yeah.
Here in Portugal, the cartoon, we obviously have a Portuguese dub for the cartoon, which is very good, mind you. And here in Tintin is actually very popular here in Portugal. And you know what's interesting? They actually got the original actors from the cartoon to do the Portuguese dub of this movie. And they actually did, even though here's the interesting thing, they did the Bob Hoskins thing, where when this movie came out, obviously they were doing their job and, you know, promoting it and shit. But in recent months, you know, I think it was like back in 2014 or 15, but basically like a year or two ago, they actually came out and said, yeah, we didn't really, we voiced the movie, but we didn't really like what they did with the characters. So yeah, even the actors familiar with Tintin here didn't really like what they did. Okay, audience, for the uninitiated, in the original comic, the book, not the book, sorry, in the original story, Captain Haddock was just being imprisoned just because, not being imprisoned, he was just being kept drunk so that Alan could run the ship for him and keep trafficking drugs. But I guess Spielberg didn't want any drugs because drugs are taboo, I guess. So in here, it was just Daniel Craig keeping him imprisoned, so in hope that he would remember about where the treasure is.
Fun fact, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, not counting the United States, of all the foreign countries that got this film released in their theaters, the place where it made the most money was France.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Belgium, not quite that much.
Well, considering it's one of their most prized national properties, I'm guessing they were very wise to make sure this was they saw through the facade. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure Belgium.
You're butchering one of the most well-known exports of ours. Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. Cannot really blame them. Don't get us wrong, everybody. We're not saying this movie is like an abomination or anything. It's not really bad enough to be that. It's just boring.
Again, I wouldn't say, in terms of films that came out in 2011, I wouldn't say it's the worst one that I've seen from that year.
Oh, no,
again,
that's
Mars Needs Mums.
Oh yeah, of course. Mars Needs Mums. This is like God compared to Mars Needs Mums.
Mars Needs Mums is very unpleasant to watch.
Whereas this movie is just boring. Except when Thompson and Thompson are on screen. At least
at least Tintin's not Milo, a completely unlikable, annoying, and extremely rude little shit.
Yeah.
And before you say, oh, well, at least he has a personality, I'd rather have no personality than a freaking annoying little, the horrible personality.
Yeah, I agree.
Again,
like we've said, Tintin never had personality. That's what the other characters are for.
Again, yeah, that's why I don't really mind characters like Ash Ketchum all that much. Thompson and Thompson are addicted professors.
Ding.
Okay, who's that character again?
The pickpocket guy.
Alright.
And yes, this design is just like in the original, so props for that at least. So yeah, basically this guy steals wallets not because he wants to steal money, but because he loves wallets. He's got a really weird wallet fetish, and he makes a collection out of it.
Does he do other things with the wallets?
No. No, Thompson. I really don't get it. They got Thompson and Thompson right, but Addock, they got it so wrong.
Well, you were dressed all in black, so you could be.
That's racist.
Property of Tintin. Just Tintin. Apparently he doesn't even have a last name.
Last name. It's like with Mario.
Mario and Luigi Mario.
Yeah. I think that's actually proper canon now. Alcohol.
The beginning and the end of every man's problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hate that face too. Don't worry.
Especially up close.
Yeah.
You'd think by 2011 they would have improved on that. Remind me again, Liz, when did Mars Needs Moms come out?
2011, the same year.
Oh. Again, same thing. You'd think by this...
Yeah. Anyway, what you're saying...
You'd think by this point they would have improved on the technology to make it look like, you know, appealing. But no, still Uncanny Valley. I mean, Heavy Rain had the Uncanny Valley shit, but Beyond heavily improved on that, to his credit.
So we're saying that this multi-million-dollar movie does something worse than David Cage.
Which is sad.
Amazingly sad.
Ugh.
And here's the plane part. Okay, for those who don't remember, in the original story, the plane starts shooting them out of nowhere in true Tintin fashion. That's another thing, actually. That's another thing, actually, that I just forgot. Nowhere in this entire movie do we have a trip in the balls moment.
Except for the opening title sequence.
Yeah.
I guess.
Didn't he add 3 in the original story?
I do think Jimmy Bell does a fine enough Tintin. However, I like Colin O'Meara's performance better. I think he captured the character better. Maybe because he had better writing to work with, but that's what I get.
And Snowy drowned.
Down, down goes Snowy to the bottom of the sea. Oh, and there's some accordion in there.
Yeah, there was also before.
Yeah, I know. John is trying to go for the European style of the music composing. Sorry.
Well, to be fair, that's also a classic trait of Tintin, menacing someone, bluffing by menacing someone while his weapon is without bullets.
Yeah, that's not just Tintin. I've seen a lot of action movies do that.
Yeah. All right. Again, I think we might have said this in our previous one, but if that Peter Jackson directed film does get made, I just hope Howard Shore gives us a better score.
Yeah, not to mention, this movie is actually almost 2 hours. So you have to wonder, how longer will the Peter Jackson sequel be?
It'll be 4 hours.
Jesus. And the sad part is that this movie didn't need to be...
No, Pedro, I've got it.
Go ahead.
How many books did this film adapt?
3.
3.
And how many books are there in the series total?
3 or 4, I can't remember.
No. He's talking about the entire book collection too.
Oh.
About 25 around that.
Yeah.
Jackson's going to use more runtime so he can adapt the other 22 books in one movie.
Oh yeah, so yeah, like in the original story, they run into a storm.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. There you go.
Exactly. Actually, that's another good point. Okay, it is true that in the original story, Addock did get drunk in the plane, but it was from actual whiskey. But in here, it's medical alcohol. Why? That makes us... Captain Addock is not that obsessed with alcohol that he would drink medical alcohol. Come on.
Especially since Tintin makes him snap out of it really fast.
And here's a reference to the Moon arc. Remember, Dwibs? This happened in the Moon arc.
Yeah, but we're not on the moon here, so this makes no sense.
Also, Snowy just burped. Let's sink in a while.
I guess it's because, you know, the plane is...
This guy was so funny the first time, let's do it again.
Yeah. I mean, don't get us wrong. I know the concept, you know, when the plane is going in that way, the gravity gets a bit weaker, but not to the point where that happens. Come on. It made sense in the Moon arc because they were in space.
Again, that's an Indiana Jones 4 movie where people said the logic there was too much for them. And yeah, it's fine here.
Well, don't get us wrong, audience. We're not asking for logic in Tintin. Tintin never had logic. It's just that, yeah, okay, I get it. Yes, Tintin never had logic, but it wasn't that batshit nuts. At least not to the extent that this movie gets at some points. Oh yeah, and I hate this scene because this scene is so stupid. Yeah. Okay, so basically the plane is almost out of gas. So what to do? Oh, Addock is scared. It's funny, guys. Laugh. This movie... okay, I'm starting to see why this movie takes itself so seriously. Because when it does try to be funny, it's cringeworthy.
Well, unless it's anything with Thompson and Thompson.
Yeah, except when it's Thompson and Thompson. Yes, thank you, Dwibs. You're right.
Oh,
I hate this. Oh, I hate this scene. There you go. His alcohol breath ignites the engine. Because that works, right? Jesus Christ. They're trying to...
Quantum of Solace again.
Yeah, they're trying to be funny, but it's not working.
Again, one of these writers is Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Oh, and he survives that.
Well, to be fair, Theo, in the original stuff, Tintin survived a bullet to the head. So to be fair, this is not really that much different.
Ow. And then we all died.
Indeed.
Well, almost.
Tintin's gonna have his head sliced off.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. And now, time for more slapstick. Okay, get ready for another sin, Dwibs.
Okay.
He survives it. He survives this.
Ding.
I'm pretty sure that would cut him in half.
Yeah.
Or make him sick. At least. And yeah, it's Quantum of Solace now.
Cue the Lawrence of Arabia theme.
Or Uncharted 3.
Hey, Pedro,
that works too.
I just realised.
Go ahead.
They're walking through the desert, and Daniel Craig's in this movie. This is the sequel to Quantum of Solace that no one wanted.
Oh, of course. Well, actually, Uncharted 3 was pretty much a love letter to Lawrence of Arabia, so it also works in that regard. Even the theme sounded kind of like it.
Yeah, watching this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I do remember this bit in the cartoon.
Yeah. In the original cartoon, Adok got so nuts that he actually thought Tintin was a bottle of wine and tried to uncork him.
Yeah.
But in here, that might be funny, so we can have that.
Again, what made Edgar Wright not funny here?
I don't know.
I thought it was Shyamalan that was supposed to suck the funny out of people, not Spielberg.
Well, was that like an editor? Also, where did Snowy found that bone?
No, Tia, we can't even say that. Steven Spielberg. At this point, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Also, well, to be fair, Theo, I'm pretty sure that there might be some camel skeletons around. I mean, even camels can survive in the desert forever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's Pan.
Yeah, basically, this is the way that finally, let me check. Yeah, about nearly 3/3 into the movie, finally we get to the flashback of Adok's ancestor. Finally. And now we're back to Kraven the Golden Claws. We literally alternated between books in the span of 2 seconds.
And again.
And now back to Secret of the Unicorn.
Also, why couldn't you just start the movie with this as a flashback?
Because that would make the movie more exciting.
I mean, a lot of movies do this, like the 2007 Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah. And of course, Adok's first mate is Nestor's ancestor. And no audience, that didn't happen in the cartoon. That's purely the writers.
Well, I don't see that as a necessary bad.
No, it's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Touch.
It's sad that over the course of this commentary, this film's being showed up by technically worse films.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Pedro, the trailer for the new Assassin's Creed game looks incredible.
Honestly, I don't know, Theo. I still think playing that Assassin's Creed pirate game might still be more fun than this. Don't get me wrong, I haven't played Assassin's Creed, so I don't really know Assassin's Creed. I don't know.
Assassin's Creed 4 is an amazing pirate game, but it's not an Assassin's Creed game. Also, flying ship. We are in Pokemon 2000 right now.
Maybe Sea of Thieves will be an awesome pirate game?
The rare one?
The new rare IP, yeah.
I don't know.
Also, this music reminds me a bit of his Hook score. Except not as good. Because I actually really love the Hook score. That's one movie that we should do at some point, Hook, because that, even though it's technically a bad movie, it's a lot of fun.
Well, it's got Robin Williams in it.
It's definitely more. I will take that movie over this because at least that movie's fun. This movie's not fun. Even even now at this point, we're having awesome pirate action, and yet it's still boring. Go ahead, Dwibs. What you were gonna say something?
Nah, I forgot. Sorry.
Wee.
In terms of Spielberg stuff, I did like his most recent film, Bridge of Spies.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
I liked it.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so Sakharine was a good guy in the book, but in here they make Red Rackham the ancestor of Sakharine because Sakharine is the villain, so we gotta tie Rackham into him somehow. Sorry, Tintin. Spielberg hit pause on the flashback. We have to wait till him for play again.
Yeah, Ready Player One and stuff like that. Which is ironic because he's directing that movie. But first, he's got to do Big Friendly Giants. Did you see the trailer for that?
No.
Not yet. I've seen the old animated movie, though. Yay! I guess.
Alec had plenty of sobriety time in the original stuff. This whole he's always drunk thing. Don't get me wrong. Yes, being drunk is his thing. Yes, but not all the time, as this movie tries to portray it. So yeah, they get found and rescued and shit. Oh, look, the French flag.
Yeah, the French were an important part in the... I forget how it's called. Basically, the outposts in the desert.
If this is Tintin, should that technically be the flag of Belgium?
Yeah.
I mean, they both speak French, but
this, yes, let me guess, Dwibs, in your eyes, this sucked out all the funniness of Alec.
yeah, again, it's like Spielberg. It's like I said earlier. I expected, Shyamalan was usually the guy at this point to suck funny out of people, not Spielberg.
And yet, his most recent movie is actually really funny.
Yeah.
And by that too, I mean intentionally funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for once, Shyamalan actually had an intentionally funny movie. Yeah, the lives of okay, maybe not the entire audience, but at least, but some of the audience who were Tintin fans.
That's pretty much it. I mean, at this point, what the hell?
Why'd they do that?
Oh, okay. I guess they're trying to pay homage to the scene from the Secret of the Unicorn book where, remember how he was, playing his own ancestor, basically he got too much into the role of his ancestor and he was doing all that kind of rampage that scared away the lady. Except in that one, it was done with a little more restraint. In here, he just goes nuts out of nowhere. Yeah, it's definitely sounds a bit like the Hook battle theme.
I haven't seen Hook.
It's good. It's okay. It's technically a bad movie. It's way too cheesy. It's way too cheesy and there's a lot of forced whimsy, like Doug said.
Yeah.
However,
for the concept though.
But if you watch it unironically, if you watch it ironically, it's actually a really fun movie to watch, and it does have some good things in it too.
Was Robin Williams one of them?
Oh, of course, definitely. Robin Williams is great in it. Dustin Hoffman as Hook is fantastic.
Bob Hoskins as me.
Yeah. Oh no. Trust me, Dwibs. Bob Hoskins with Dustin Hoffman as Hook and Smee. That's some of the best comedy I've ever seen from a Spielberg movie. It's fantastic. In fact, again, like I said, I kind of.
I think. Well, it sounds better than the Smee and Pan.
Oh, definitely.
The Smee and Pan, okay, he was a little bit funny, but he was just a generic Weasley guy.
Not to mention the Smee and Pan didn't look at all like what Smee's supposed to look like.
From what I understand, he was like a regular Joe Wright actor.
How exactly do you have a
trap door, a secret door room?
Wait, 400? Wouldn't that sink the ship?
Pirate logic.
Don't question it.
I guess. True.
Yeah, don't question it, otherwise you'll lose your mind.
Guys,
good news.
I guess the main reason, before hold on to that thought, I'll be quick. I guess the main reason why I'm questioning more logic here than the cartoon is because the cartoon did a great yes, the cartoon was technically illogical and shit, but the cartoon did a great job in distracting us from the lack of logic with a lot of fun set pieces and the characters were a lot of fun. This movie, since I'm not at all being entertained by the characters, I have nothing else to talk about it except for the lack of logic. Go ahead, Dwibs.
I was just gonna say, you know the Batwing in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
It's been confirmed to be fully pilotable.
Well, of course.
Yeah. Well, no, Pedro, that's because there were people thinking, oh, it's just a transition cutscene between one area and the other. No. It's actually a thing you control on the map.
And I also read that news where it says, but it will take a while until you get it. Well, of course.
Well, it makes sense. Airships tend to get that 2/3 of each Final Fantasy game.
Sometimes even later.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So yeah, and Rackham catches him in the act, obviously. And nobody wakes up from this. Yeah. Okay, everybody. In the original story, the pirates were all getting drunk, and this fight happened in the basement of the boat, which is why nobody noticed that they were fighting. In here, they're just asleep. So you'd think they would wake up from this, but apparently not.
Did they drink too much ale?
I mean, why would you even change that to make it more illogical? Again, I get it, Tintin has no logic, but you're intentionally going out of your way to be illogical here. It's so bland, this theme. Again, it pains me to say this. Dun dun dun! It was Daniel Craig all along. I think the line you're supposed to say there is, "How could I be so bland?" Oh yeah, yeah. In here they pull this curse thing out of nowhere because I guess Spielberg thought, well, it's a pirates movie, so we gotta have a curse like in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Oh, get it? They're jumping in the water just like and their ancestor jumped in the water. I guess I don't. What? I'm not gonna bother trying to save my life by swimming. No, I'm just gonna let myself die with the ship.
And
okay.
Alex' ancestor dies because, you know, monies at that speed are kind of like bullets. So.
Yeah. Also, I get that the captain is supposed to go down with the ship, but this is taking it to the ultimate extreme. No! The guy who's been nothing but doing bad things to us all along is the villain?
No.
I mean, Sekron was already the clear villain before.
Okay, so in addition to Edgar Wright not being funny, either he, Joe Cornish, or most likely Stephen Moffat think we're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, considering Stephen Moffat's recent Doctor Who output, I'd be surprised if he thinks we're stupid. Where he says, "Hey," he said,
"Oh, finally, he said it."
He's totally like the character now.
Like what? Like we're like
half an hour near
we're 3/4 into the movie, and only now he said his catchphrase.
Now what story?
And now, yeah, Lawrence of Arabia. Basically, there's every movie story that takes place in deserts nowadays, but they always tend to make some kind of Lawrence of Arabia reference. Water shortage.
Wait, a movie where it's got Daniel Craig in it, you walk through the desert, and there's a water shortage. This is like Quantum of Solace. Jesus Christ, why do we have to make so many connections to that mess?
Well, actually, you're the one making the connections.
Yeah, me. Okay, me then.
Oh, that's right, I forgot about this. Yeah. Prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen, because actually, never mind. This the two good characters, Albrecht. that face. Please stop zooming in on Tintin's face.
The Milanese Nightingale.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Even though she has absolutely no purpose being here, they decided to drag in Bianca Castafiore into this. Don't get me wrong, I love Bianca, the Bianca character, but why is she here? She wasn't even a part of any of the 3 books we're adapting.
Don't you see, Pedro? If we put in enough fan service, they'll forgive us for anything.
Oh, of course.
Maybe that's why that's another reason why people like this movie.
Shallow fan service.
Shallow fan service, although clearly...
Who's voicing her, by the way?
Clearly it hasn't worked on you or Tio.
Hold on, let me listen. Yeah, she definitely sounds like the cartoon actress. Let me look it up who she is.
I'll check.
Go ahead.
Kim Stengel.
I don't know who she is.
Out of curiosity, Dwibs, can you check who she was voiced by in the cartoon?
Okay.
Well, they got the character right. Bianca, I mean. Bulletproof glass. Which means we need her voice to break it.
Of course.
Rain with a seabell. La, la, la. Okay, Adok, okay, that's another thing that I don't like. They make Adok too jokey. Okay, don't get me wrong. Adok is it's also a lot of comedy relief in the yes, but he wasn't always acting like a clown. He did behave normal.
Maureen Forrester.
Okay, thanks, Dwibs. Most of his comedy came from him getting angered by stuff getting thrown at him.
Whereas in here, he's just acting clownish because it's funny. Again, remember that? Remember when we saw the Tintin in Tibet episode, and when we had that really good, heartfelt moment between Tintin and Adok. That was that's exactly a great moment that I like to use to make that the people who saw that cartoon, they get Tintin. They clearly were huge fans of the books, and that, like I said, that scene was not in the original comic, so that was an actual example of how you put your own spin on something to an improvement, and of course you do.
She sounds more like one of them little laser thingies, you know.
Well, the Dwibs, that's how opera singers sound. Look, I cannot stand her.
What, they sound like they're going to be firing their lasers or something.
Kind of.
Largo della città, largo. La 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 la.
You're bleeding.
That guy looks like he's about to fall asleep. He's trying to stay awake.
He's supposed to be a reflection of the audience.
Even the snow we cannot stand.
Yeah, well, it was like that in the cartoon, so. Except, remember, in the cartoon, he didn't just, cover his ears. He actually started barking. So that would have been, this would have been a great chance to do a little homage to that scene, but,
Yeah, you'll be totally conspicuous in that attic. No!
You see, everybody, Adok does nothing else in his free time aside from drinking. Okay, what's that term? Yeah, flanderization. Yeah, flanderization. This is this is character flanderization at its finest. Seriously, they took one of his character traits and exaggerated to no end.
Yeah. So now is this only trait?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's two traits. He's drunk and he's unfunny. I think I've only laughed like 3 times during the course of this movie.
With the Falcon fan thing. Jeez.
I think that's the bad guy there.
He's about to break.
Here we go.
Doc. And why aren't his glasses breaking?
Because he's the bad guy. He's protected by the bad guy immunity.
Ah!
Ow.
Jeez.
Go, my parrot. Go!
You mean my hawk?
My hawk, sorry. Or falcon.
Yeah.
Ah!
He actually won.
Alright, it's up to Snowy then. Man, this is an incredibly well-trained falcon.
Yeah. Well, to give credit, falcons can be trained to do a lot of complex stuff.
True. How? See, even Tintin's saying it. Even Tintin is commenting at how bad this constant thing where he's always, again, yes, I get it. Adok being drunk is his thing, but he didn't do it all the time. He was conscious enough to know that there's a time for drinking and there's a time for not drinking. And now we're gonna have an Uncharted style set piece.
Yeah, the thing that the E3 showcase of Uncharted 4 was trying to do before getting interrupted by bad network.
Well, actually, here's an interesting thing, Taylor. Have you played the Ubisoft game, which is an adaptation of this movie?
No, I only watched it a couple of things here and there.
Yeah, the game is pretty much a mix of side-scrolling with Uncharted set pieces. Mm-hmm. And yes, this scene is obviously one of the set piece moments in the game. So yeah, basically the water is coming and yeah. Did he just say Benjamin Falcon?
What the shit?
Excuse
now we're
me?
at Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah. No, actually, Dwibs, like I said, like Teo said, it's like Uncharted 4. Which is interesting because the game that came out in this year was Uncharted 3, not 4.
Yeah.
I guess 2011 was the year of action in deserts. Haha, get it? He's wearing a dress. That's funny. The dress joke was done better in Yokai Watch. Well, to be fair, audience, can you really blame Dwibs? I mean,
you know, it's in. Now I'm getting flashback on what Doug and Black Nerd said during this Warp review. This set piece is just about movement.
Yeah. I mean,
there's non-stop action at the same exact speed. Jeez.
The big problem is that the action is just not that well directed. I mean, it's not really intense enough like an Uncharted sequences to the point where, you know, because when you do a set piece like this, you have to go all out. And yet, Spielberg is restraining himself for reasons that forever baffle me. See, look at this. I mean, even though there's a lot of over-the-top stuff going on, the way it's animated is very restrained. It doesn't mesh. It feels off. And John's music isn't helping.
Slow-mo. Also great, Spielberg's doing the gratuitous slow-mo now.
To be fair, slow-mo can work when done right, and that wasn't...
No, that's why I said gratuitous.
Okay.
42 and...
It's a latitude and a longitude.
Gladly! Ding! And snow is life.
Well, you may be fine, but the dog isn't. Wait, what? Here's mud in your eye. What the fuck does that even mean? Okay, Dwibs. English is your native language. In that context, what does "here's mud in your eye" mean?
I guess it's a sort of way of saying, I've got you or something.
What the shit?
Ha! The tank fell in the water. It's funny.
Like, he had no reason to do so.
Ha ha ha. Oh boy, and now this is the scene where... Okay, you know how the movie has been nothing but funniness and action so far? Well, now they're going to try to have a motivational speech moment. So yeah, Tintin has given up. Actually, Captain, you haven't been around Tintin long enough to say that he always has a plan. If we were in the actual comics where Tintin and Anna have a lot of adventures together, then that scene.
Okay, so when did Tintin go from you know?
I mean, and that goes against the character of Tintin in general. Remember, in the series, it's the exact opposite because, as I and all of us noticed, he always straight is that he doesn't, you know, he keeps getting involved in everyone's affairs. He doesn't just stays at home and start.
But here he just
gives up because he couldn't manage to obtain things and save the captain's life. What?
This shouldn't be happening.
Not really, no. The movie hasn't earned us. And like Theo said, it's wrong. It should be the opposite. If anything, it should be Tintin saying this to Adok, not the other way around.
Zootropolis did this better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zootropolis, Zootopia. Yeah, sure.
Whatever. It's an whatever. It's an awesome movie. Please go watch this. It's much better than this. All right. So now we're gonna have our climax.
All right.
That's another thing. This movie's too long. I think the movie should be 90 minutes long, not 2 hours. Let's think about this. Where exactly did that entire action sequence in that village get us? Nowhere, really. We could have skipped that and go straight to this boat. Exactly, what Dwibs said.
So have you guys played Dark Souls 3 lately?
No, my copy hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah, we can't Dwibs because the game arrives on April 12. The only people who says that has played the game is because they got review copies from Namco Bandai.
Or Teo, they got the Japanese version because the Japanese version from Xbox Live actually does have an English option.
All right.
All right.
Ow! And he died.
My God, this is still going. That's another thing. Yes, Tintin did have some action scenes here and there, but this movie has a little way too much action. Most of the adventuring in Tintin was either chase sequences, not exactly action sequences, more like
shooting. Well, some shooting sequences here and there.
But most of the adventuring was going from place to place.
Yeah, and weird stuff happened in between.
Like I've said before, who is this movie for exactly? The fans? The fans? Me and Teo don't like it. The newcomers who might not be either not familiar at all or little familiar like Dwibs? Well, Dwibs clearly doesn't like this movie, so who is this movie for exactly?
Okay, I don't represent everybody, but yeah, I mean...
Well, yeah, of course.
Whoa!
It's just that from our perspective, from the perspective of this group, we really are curious. Who is this movie for? Because it doesn't seem to... Meh. Ha. Well, actually, now that I think about it, isn't that one of the various phrases that Bond tends to say? Close but no cigar. I think I've heard Bond say that sentence in a few Bond movies.
I think that's a common way of saying
I know,
in America.
I know that. It's just that I think I've heard Bond say that in a few Bond movies a bit.
I don't remember that.
Maybe I'm mistaking it. Whatever.
Also, get it? They have a showdown with something that resembled Sword because they were pirates.
Get it? Well, actually, what to tell you, Sakharine was a pirate, whereas Adok was always been an honest captain. Yes. Ah!
啊
Well. Ha.
That happened.
Just like in the
flashback.
Yeah. Ha! Little homage to Tintin in America. He took a sword from his cane. Except there was much funnier.
Also, Adok, you're using a slashing type of weapon against a fencing type of weapon. I'm not sure you have the upper hand.
Well, Theo, it's like in Professor Layton in Eternal Diva, where Layton fought Descole's sword with a pipe. In fact, I kind of wish I was watching Eternal Diva right now. The action climax in that movie was actually exciting because the plot built up to it, and we actually cared about the characters. Taste scotch, motherfucker.
Also, I'm pretty sure glass in your face, gives bit of a beating.
So let me get this straight. You're going to give up on the thing for your fortune just to get back at this guy. Really?
Well, I guess the hatred runs potent.
No, this goes beyond hatred. This is just stupid. Why would any kind of...
stupid hatred.
Actually, not if you burn that thing, you moron. Thank you.
Funny.
Mr. Sacred, you are under arrest.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Again, we can at least be glad that they got Thompson and Thompson right. At least there was pure Thompson and Thompson right there.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish they would have gotten the other characters right too.
42 and
there we go. That's where the treasure is.
And then in the next movie, it turns out that the treasure wasn't there, and this movie was just a complete waste of our time.
Well, that's kind of what happened in the cartoon, actually.
Well, yeah, so this is going to be a waste of our time.
In the original cartoon, Professor Calculus went on the trip to find the treasure, but they didn't find it. However, by selling his shark submarine to the government, Calculus won a lot of money, and since he would never been able to make that money without Adok's help, he repaid Adok by buying the castle for him. And Adok, in gratitude, allowed Calculus to live there in the castle with him.
But there's no Calculus here, so...
Well, look at it this way, Dwibs. At least that's one Tintin character they didn't ruin.
Yeah, they only ruined everyone else aside from Thompson and Thompson.
Yeah. Wait, you've been expecting them? Aren't you supposed to be Sakharin's butler in this version of the story?
Can this movie please just end?
Well, look at the bright side, Dwibs. At least it's not like Return of the King where there are a gajillion of fake outs.
No, Theo. That's for the next movie. In the next movie, we're going to have all the endings of all the books.
Courtesy of Peter Jackson.
Doggy.
Hi, Doggy.
But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah. Nestor, for no reason now, is helping them find the treasure, even though he's supposed to be the butler of Sakharin. Why is he being helpful to them now? Again,
because you've proved yourselves worthy.
In the original cartoon, Nestor got out of a job when the Bird Brothers were arrested, so Adok decided to hire him as his personal butler. But in here, he's just helping them for no reason.
Again, they probably expected us to have read every single Tintin book so that we know what's happening.
No. It's beyond that, actually. Even in the context of this plot, it makes no sense for him to help him. It's not a matter of them... and again, it's not so much that people who haven't read the comics cannot follow the plot. They can. It's just that the characters don't have... It's a thing. Unlike, let's say Batman v Superman, which has a lot of stuff where you will only understand if you read the comics. This book... People who haven't read the comics or seen the cartoon can follow it fine enough.
In this movie?
This movie, yeah. Sorry. This movie, you can follow it fine enough, even if you're not familiar with Tintin. The problem is that the characters are either under-characterized or flenderized, and the plot is just so shallow, boring, and the action is not impressive. Ugh. It's a competently made movie. It's not like it's fucking Food Fight or anything. The problem is that it's boring. It's boring as shit. I mean, Dwibs, you saw it, audience. Dwibs kind of fell asleep. So yeah, basically the only one who could know where the island is an Addock, because someone who actually knows the seas like the palm of his hand and shit like that. So he would know it's in
here,
where the coordinates. There we go. And there's a treasure right there. My guess is they didn't want to bother with the Red Rackham treasure book, so let's just have the treasure be here.
What if someone accidentally pressed that button?
Yeah, apparently this room was... Unlike in the cartoon where Tintin discovered this room, although it was connected to the rest of the mansion, here apparently it was walled down and Zachary never checked it.
No, it's not real gold.
Also, apparently 17th century hat is still managed to survive up until now.
Hey guys, this is...
without decomposing.
Yeah, it's not real gold. It's fool's gold.
And what was that?
I would love to see AGDI make a Tintin point-and-click adventure game. That would be cool.
Oh... Oh yeah, he's still a reporter.
Did he know?
Great. Hey folks, do you want to watch the next movie that's probably never going to come out at this rate?
Except the problem is that another go to a treasure, except as we've got confirmation that the next movie is based on Prisoners of the Sun. So how exactly does Rackham's treasure fit into all of that?
They'll probably fit that in. They'll probably try to crowd that in there.
And now Snowy
and
close up
it.
For no reason. Okay. See, okay, this theme. It's not bad, but it's definitely not as good as that.
It's generic, to be honest.
Yeah. It's definitely not like the Tintin theme from the cartoon, which is awesome. Anyway, yeah, that was The Adventures of Tintin, Secret of the Unicorn. It's boring, and honestly, I think it doesn't respect the source material enough to really, aside from Thompson, they got right. Everything else, though, not really. Everything is off. The action is off. The characterization is off, especially with Addock. Addock is flanderized like hell, and the action scenes are boring. Yeah, the story is shallow, and honestly, the whole amalgamation of 3 books doesn't really work because we keep alternating between different plot points with no coherency whatsoever, if you ask me. It's just a boring movie made by people who try to who are like, oh no, we get Tintin. We even made these parody videos where we're dressing as the Thompsons. Except no, Sorry, guys. Speaking as a guy who grew up on Tintin, sorry, Peter and Steven, you don't get Tintin. Sorry. Go ahead, Theo.
It's pretty much what you said, plus the fact that we kept saying during all the movie what were the problems, pretty much. So there's not much to say else aside from the fact that I can commit the fact that someone tried to bring back the Tintin franchise from the dust, but this is not how you do it. That's pretty simple.
Yep. Go ahead, Dwibs.
Really, the only other thing I can add is what I said last time. It's not. I don't think it's a. I don't really enjoy this movie, and I didn't even watch anything Tintin related at that time. So, so I just thought it was a pretty boring movie. But now that I've seen the show, which is pretty much the books, I'm still not sold on this movie. I'm afraid. The rest of it is pretty much what you two said.
Pretty much, basically, I think I speak for all three of us audience when I say, don't watch this movie, either read the books or watch the cartoon, the 90s cartoon. Because that cartoon is a lot of fun. Right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. Okay, then. See ya for whatever movie we do next, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.